Why was Earth sending its best into a war they could not see? That question burned in Captain Riley Kane's mind as the shuttle dropped through the storm skies of Colony 7. The engines shuddered with each strike of the invisible turbulence. Sparks jumped along the metal hull. The warning lights flashed red and orange. Every beep of the console sounded like a gunshot. "Hold it steady," Kane barked. His voice was tight, sharp. He gripped the control rail with white-knuckled hands. "We're not here for sightseeing," Private Lee swore under his breath. The shuttle rocked violently. A panel above them burst, and molten wires rained down. Lee ducked, yanking at his helmet. Sparks sizzled on the floor. Kane's eyes narrowed. Every second here was a gamble. Every second could be the last. The landing bay came into view. Smoke crawled across the cracked floor. Broken machinery hung from the ceiling like dead vines. Alarms rang in a high-pitched chorus. The air tasted of ozone and burned metal. The shuttle shuddered again as they hit the ground. Dust choked the cabin. Kane slammed the hatch open. "Move!" he shouted. Soldiers spilled out, boots clanging on metal plates. Their armor scraped and hummed as they adjusted. They carried rifles that glowed faintly with energy coils. Each weapon pulsed with life, waiting to be unleashed. The group spread in a rough formation, scanning the wrecked colony. Something moved in the shadows. Kane froze. The motion was wrong. Too fast, too smooth. He raised his rifle. "Contact!" he yelled. Shots cut through the smoke. Sparks flew as energy rounds struck metal walls. Shadows twisted and shifted. Nothing solid appeared. Private Ortiz cursed and ducked behind the console. "They're not human," he said. Panic clawed at his voice. "Nothing moves like this." Kane's jaw clenched. Fear was there, but so was anger. They were Earth's best, trained for impossible odds. They had to fight. They had to survive. He pushed forward, boots echoing on the metal. Every corner they turned revealed more destruction. The colony was dead, but traces of life remained. Signs of struggle, scorched floors, deep gouges in walls. Whoever had done this moved like a ghost and hit like a storm. The team reached a central hub. The lights flickered. A console sparked and whined. Kane touched it. The screens showed broken readings. Alien symbols flashed briefly before vanishing. He frowned. "Signals," he muttered. "We're not alone." A low hum rose beneath the floor. Soldiers froze. Ortiz pointed at a panel that had cracked open. Tiny drones crawled out. They moved faster than any human could track. Kane fired, missing by inches. Sparks shot from the drones. They circled the team, buzzing like angry insects. Back to the shuttle. Kane shouted. They ran, boots clanging, hearts hammering. One drone exploded near Lee. Heat singed his arm. He screamed and kept moving. Kane slammed the door behind them as the rest scrambled in. The shuttle shuddered again. The engines screamed to life. Smoke poured from the hull. Kane's eyes scanned the horizon. The colony behind them burned, a black scar under the violet storm clouds. Nothing would survive the night here. Then the comms crackled. Earth's voice was calm, but clipped. "Riley, status. Do not engage unless necessary." Kane's stomach twisted. Do not engage? After what they had seen? After the drones? After the dead colony? He wanted to scream at the speaker. He wanted to tell them this was a fight they could not ignore. But before he could respond, the shuttle jolted violently. The sky split with a blinding light. The ground shook. Instruments went wild. Something massive moved beneath the clouds. The ship tilted sharply. Kane grabbed the rail and held on. A voice in the back yelled, "What the hell is that?" Kane's eyes widened. He saw it too. Something huge, mechanical, alive. Its shadow swept across the land. It moved fast. Too fast. And it was coming straight for them. Kane gritted his teeth, fear twisted with adrenaline. They were in the middle of something they barely understood, and mercy had no place here. The shuttle lurched again. Metal screamed, sparks flew. The unknown was upon them. The shuttle barely cleared the burning ruins. Kane's hands ached from gripping the controls. Sparks flew from the dashboard. Every alarm screamed. Behind them, the shadow moved, huge and fast. The team pressed themselves against the seats, breathing hard, sweat stinging their eyes. Reroute power to the engines, Kane barked. We can't stay in the sky. Lee yanked at a lever. The engines roared louder. The shuttle lurched sideways. Metal groaned. Kane fought to keep them level. Ortiz pointed toward the horizon. More lights. Another settlement. We're not alone. The shuttle passed over another colony. Smoke rose in dark columns. Fires burned along the streets. Broken vehicles littered the ground. Kane gritted his teeth. They were too late. The enemy moved faster than they could think. Drop us close, Kane ordered. We need to see what they're doing. The shuttle shuddered as it lowered toward a half-destroyed landing pad. The soldiers readied their weapons. Energy rifles hummed. Helmets clicked as sensors powered on. The landing pad trembled under the shuttle's weight. Kane's stomach twisted. Every second here was a risk. They moved through the metal corridors of the colony. Dust floated in the air. Sparks jumped from broken consoles. The lights flickered, casting sharp shadows. Kane led, rifle up. Lee and Ortiz flanked him. Every corner they turned revealed destruction. Walls were gouged, floors scorched. Strange marks crawled along metal panels. Something skittered across the ceiling. Kane froze. The team froze. Tiny drones dropped down, buzzing like angry insects. Shots rang out. Sparks erupted. The drones dodged and twisted with impossible speed. Ortiz shouted and fired again, narrowly missing Kane. Keep moving, Kane yelled. Don't stop. They ran deeper into the corridors. The hum of energy grew louder. Panels sparked. One console exploded. Kane flung himself sideways. Lee went down hard. Kane grabbed his arm and pulled him up. Signals, Kane muttered, scanning the screens. Strange symbols flashed and vanished. They're controlling something. Another corridor opened up. Machines moved, like limbs reaching for them. The soldiers fired blindly. Sparks flew. One machine struck Lee's leg. He screamed and fell. Kane and Ortiz dragged him up. The air smelled of burned metal and ozone. Suddenly, the floor vibrated. The walls shuddered. Kane looked up. The alien shadow they had seen from above had entered the colony. Its shape was massive, but it moved silently, like it knew the corridors. Back to the shuttle, Kane yelled. But the path was blocked. The shadow shifted, cutting off escape. Panic surged. Lee gripped Kane's arm, shaking. We're trapped, he gasped. Kane's eyes darted. Weapons loaded, sensors blaring, the team realized the enemy was everywhere at once. Machines moved in impossible patterns. The shadow's presence was like a weight pressing down. A low, mechanical roar filled the hall. Sparks jumped from the walls. The shadow lunged, and the corridor shook violently. Kane raised his rifle. This time, there was no clear path. Only one choice, fight or die. The shuttle's engines roared as Kane fought to lift it off the ground. Sparks fell from the damaged hull. Smoke and flames curled along the edges. The alien shadow moved outside, crushing the hangar doors with every step. Kane pushed the throttle forward. The shuttle shuddered, lifted, then slammed back down. Go! 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 Kane shouted. Lee slammed himself against the side, helmet fogging. Ortiz fired blindly at the shadow. Sparks flew, bouncing off metal walls. The creature did not stop. It only advanced. The shuttle lifted again, jerking violently. Warnings blared. Fire ignited near the engines. Kane bit back a scream. He had to reach orbit. They had no other choice. A massive vibration ran through the floor. The colony below cracked and crumbled. Dust and debris filled the air. Kane's stomach lurched as he maneuvered over the ruins. Energy pulses struck the shuttle. Sparks and metal rained down. The shuttle rocked, throwing the soldiers into walls. "Hold on," Kane yelled. He slammed switches, trying to stabilize the failing engines. The guns crackled. Earth's voice was steady. "Kane, signal source confirmed. You need to locate the main alien ship. Neutralize it if possible." Kane's jaw tightened. Neutralize it? After what they had seen? After what it had done? Every instinct screamed against it. He gritted his teeth and nodded. The shuttle broke atmosphere. The colony fell behind in flames. Kane pushed forward toward the gas giant orbiting nearby. Its massive size dominated the viewports. Lightning crackled across its stormy clouds. The alien ship loomed above the clouds, a jagged silhouette of metal and light. It moved as if alive, its energy shields glowing faintly. "Target ahead," Ortiz said, voice low. His hands shook on the controls. Kane nodded. The shuttle shuddered as it entered the alien ship's outer field. Energy pulses struck the hull. Sparks flew. The craft screamed. Kane fought to maintain control. Every second, every motion, felt wrong. Inside the alien ship, corridors twisted impossibly. Gravity shifted. Walls bent. Kane, Lee, and Ortiz ran, rifles ready. The hum of alien machinery vibrated through the floors. Sparks flew as panels ignited. The air smelled of ozone and scorched metal. A drone dropped from the ceiling, spinning toward Lee. He fired, missing, ducking behind a broken support beam. Kane kicked it, sending it crashing into a console. Sparks danced across the floor. "Keep moving," Kane yelled. Every step shook the floor. The hum beneath them grew louder. The ship's control systems reacted to their presence. Doors slammed. Walls shifted. The path changed constantly. They reached a central chamber. A massive console pulsed with energy. Alien symbols glowed. Kane approached, eyes scanning. "This is it," he said. "We shut this down. We stop them." Ortiz hesitated. Sweat ran down his face. "We could die here. Everything could collapse." Kane's eyes were hard. "We already have? We're not leaving without trying." Lee touched the console. Energy arced over his fingers. Sparks burned. He screamed, pulling back. Kane grabbed his arm. Ortiz fired at drones emerging from the shadows. They moved too fast to see. The ship's hum turned into a roar. Panels fell. Metal twisted. The floor shook violently. The alien control system reacted, firing energy pulses that split the chamber. Kane dove, pulling Lee with him. Ortiz rolled, rifle blazing. The energy reached the console. Sparks exploded, blinding the soldiers. Kane saw the core of the alien system glowing. It was massive, alive, humming with dangerous power. He realized the plan was worse than they thought. The aliens could control Earth's fleets, weapons, every military asset remotely. A deep vibration ran through the floor. Kane looked up. Part of the ceiling was collapsing. Ortiz screamed as metal fell near him. Kane grabbed Lee and ran toward the exit. The core pulsed, energy shooting outward in waves. The chamber shook again. Dust and sparks filled the air. Kane's heart pounded. Survival seemed impossible. They were too deep, too exposed. And then, a part of the alien core split open. Something moved inside, larger than anything they had faced. Kane froze. Fear cut through him like ice. It was coming for them. The alien core pulsed violently, shaking the chamber. Sparks flew from broken consoles. Kane grabbed Lee's arm, yanking him back from a falling panel. Ortiz fired at drones that dropped from the ceiling. Energy blasts hit metal and ricocheted, throwing debris across the floor. "Move!" Kane yelled. The hum beneath them became a roar. The ship shuddered as if alive. Every step they took felt unstable. Panels twisted, floors cracked. The exit was close, but the path shifted constantly. Lee stumbled, coughing from smoke and dust. "I can't. Keep moving," Kane barked. He shoved him forward. Sparks licked at their boots. The air smelled of ozone and burning metal. Heat stung Kane's skin. He felt his heart hammering in his chest. Fear mixed with anger. They had lost too much already. The corridor narrowed. Walls bent inward. Drones swarmed from vents, moving faster than they could track. Ortiz fired, missing two, hitting one. It exploded in sparks and smoke. Another slammed into Kane, forcing him to the floor. Pain seared through his shoulder, but he pushed up, kicking it away. The exit was in sight. Kane's eyes locked on the shuttle, waiting above the ruined landing bay. Engines hissed, ready to lift. Smoke spiraled around the edges. The alien ship loomed overhead, massive and pulsing with energy. Its shadow stretched over the colony below. A beam of light hit the ground, sweeping across the hangar. Sparks flew as it struck metal. Kane grabbed Lee and pulled him down. Ortiz shouted, "We're not going to make it." Kane's teeth clenched. "We have to." They sprinted across the fractured floor. Energy pulses exploded near them, throwing them to the ground. Kane rolled, firing at the drones. Lee scrambled, trips over rubble, twisting his ankle. Kane yanked him up. Ortiz ran ahead, firing blindly, shouting curses. The shuttle engine screamed. Kane threw himself inside, dragging Lee. Ortiz followed, firing at drones swarming the doorway. Sparks struck the hull. Panels bent inward. Kane slammed the hatch shut. The shuttle shuddered violently as the engines roared to life. The alien ship fired again. Energy beams struck the landing pad. Metal twisted and groaned. The shuttle lifted, flames licking its hull. Kane fought the controls, sweating. Teeth gritted. The engines flared. Sparks rained from damaged panels. A massive vibration shook the shuttle. Kane glanced out the viewport. The alien core exploded in a pulse of light. Energy rippled outward, throwing debris across the colony. The ground cracked, fires spreading instantly. Drones erupted from the wreckage, attacking the shuttle. Kane's hands flew over controls, dodging and weaving. "Brace!" Kane yelled. The shuttle lurched. Lee slammed against the side, hitting his head. Ortiz cursed, firing at the pursuing drones. Sparks hit the hull, leaving scorch marks. The air smelled of burning circuits and metal. The alien ship's outer shell began to collapse. Lightning crackled across its surface. Huge sections fell into the stormy clouds of the gas giant below. Kane pushed the shuttle upward. The engine screamed. Panels flared red. "Almost clear," Kane said, voice tight. His shoulder throbbed. Lee groaned, clutching his ankle. Ortiz kept firing, eyes wide, sweat streaming down his face. Then the shuttle shuddered violently. Warning lights blared. Energy arcs shot across the deck. Kane's stomach dropped. The alien core pulse had triggered a secondary reaction. Something massive moved inside the collapsing ship. It tore through the corridors they had barely escaped. Kane's heart pounded. Lee screamed. Ortiz froze. The viewport shook. Sparks flew. Metal groaned. The alien presence was still alive. The shuttle cleared the wreckage, rising above the clouds, but Kane knew it was not over. The alien threat had been damaged, maybe weakened, but it was far from destroyed. He gritted his teeth, breathing hard. Outside, the storm churned. The colony below smoldered. The gas giant's lightning reflected off distant debris. Kane looked at his team. Exhaustion and fear were etched into their faces. Then the comms crackled. Earth's voice was tense. "Report. Did you neutralize the target?" Kane swallowed hard. He knew the answer. The core was gone, but the enemy's network was larger. Somewhere out there, the war was still alive. Lee moaned from his seat. Ortiz stared at the viewport, pale. Kane gripped the console. He felt the weight of the cost. The victory was not clean. Too many had died. Too much had been lost. And far above, in the blackness of space, a new signal blinked faintly on their sensors. The shuttle floated above the smoldering ruins of Colony 7. Smoke curled in the distance, and fires burned in jagged patches. Kane gripped the controls, jaw tight. Every muscle screamed. Lee sat slumped in his seat, breathing hard, one hand on his twisted ankle. Ortiz stared out the viewport, eyes wide, fingers trembling on the console. The engines hissed. Warning lights flickered. Sparks danced along the edges of the damaged hull. Every beep of the panels was a reminder of how close they had come to death. Kane swallowed hard. Survival felt hollow. Too many had died to get them here. "Are we safe?" Lee whispered. His voice cracked. Kane shook his head. "Not yet. We're alive. That's all." Ortiz leaned forward. "The core is gone. The alien ship is collapsing. We did it." His voice sounded empty. He glanced at the viewport. "But what if there are more?" Kane didn't answer. He didn't have an answer. Every instinct told him the fight was not over. The alien signal pulsed faintly on the sensors. Deeper in space, beyond the gas giant. Somewhere out there, something was waiting. The shuttle jolted. Sparks flew from the hull. Kane slammed the throttle forward. The craft tilted, warning alarms shrieking. Energy pulses from the dying alien ship streaked toward them. Kane fought the controls, muscles burning. Lee gritted his teeth, gripping his seat. Ortiz fired back at small drones, caught in the shuttle's wake. Outside, the stormy sky of the gas giant churned with lightning. Debris from the alien ship rained down. Metal and fire struck the hull. Every impact shook the shuttle. Kane's shoulder throbbed from the earlier crash. He ignored it. Survival required every ounce of focus. They cleared the worst of it. The shuttle floated above the gas giant's clouds. The alien ship was gone, a twisted wreck, but the damage it had done was clear. The colony lay in ruins. Smoke and fire painted the horizon. Kane's chest tightened. They had won, but the cost was unbearable. "Earth is going to ask questions," Ortiz said. His voice was tight. "They'll want numbers. They'll want reports." Kane shook his head. "No one wants to hear about the dead. They just want results." Lee groaned, gripping his ankle. Kane glanced at him. Pain and fear were etched into every line of his face. "We made it, Lee," Kane said, voice low. "That's what matters." The shuttle shuddered again. Kane's eyes went to the sensors. A faint signal blinked on the display. Slow, pulsing, alien, different from before. Kane felt a chill run through him. "Another one?" Ortiz muttered, voice tight. Kane did not answer. He felt the weight of the mission settle on him. They had stopped one threat, but something larger remained. The aliens were not finished. Not yet. Lee's hand tightened on Kane's arm. "We can't go back, can we?" His voice was small, scared. Kane looked at him. The answer was clear in the wreckage below, in the fire and smoke. "No," he said, "not the same. Things will never be the same again." Ortiz leaned back, breathing hard, staring at the distant signal. "We did what we had to," he said quietly, "but it feels wrong. Too many lost." Kane's jaw clenched. Survival came at a price. Victory had a cost. Every life, every colony, every soldier mattered. And yet the war was not over. Somewhere in the darkness of space, the enemy waited. The shuttle drifted silently, engines humming. The fires of the destroyed colony glowed below. The storm of the gas giant raged around them. The signal pulsed faintly, steady, unyielding. Kane's hands gripped the console tighter. Somewhere out there, the fight was waiting, and they would have to face it again. Lee closed his eyes, leaning against the wall. Ortiz whispered, "We survived." "That's all we can say." Kane stared at the pulsing signal, feeling the weight of loss and the sting of guilt. A new journey had begun, one that no one had asked for, one that could cost them everything again. And far ahead, deep in the black of space, the alien signal blinked, waiting.